We will bring our country back together.
Bigger, better, bolder, brighter, happier, stronger, freer, greater, and more united than ever before. And together we will win, win, win.
Now, welcome to Trump land. Or is it not? Many during the election kept saying that this is not Trump's America, that we are not Trump. But guess what? What was supposed to be a knife-edge election was swept by Donald Trump. He swept the battleground states and also got the popular votes. Now, what do popular votes really mean here in the United States of America? That majority of the people sided with Trump. There are many factors that play over here, and we will be talking about that. But the fact is that for all those naysayers, for all those who were trying to other Trump, there is no othering here. Donald Trump has won a clear mandate, and the people of America have voted him in. They think like him, and to Kamala Harris, they are him. So, this is Donald Trump's America, and let's see what made it his America. I was in Florida for the elections, and right outside Mar-a-Lago, this was my assessment of the factors that were at play, what worked for Trump and what really didn't work for Kamala Harris.
We will bring our country back together.
Bigger, better, bolder, brighter, happier, stronger, freer, greater, and more united than ever before. And together we will win, win, win.
Hello and welcome to India Today Global. We've been covering extensively the US elections from New Delhi to now on the ground, exactly what's happening, which way the Americans were voting, and what really happened for Trump to win. That's something we'll break it down for you, for our viewers today. Let's begin with one thing. The pollsters, political pundits, US media, all of them got it absolutely wrong. They got it so terribly wrong, it was as though they wanted to believe that there is going to be a Kamala Harris win, and therefore they were not looking at the real reasons and factors as to why the country was thinking otherwise. And it is not just the electoral votes that Donald Trump won, it's also the popular votes. So speaks volumes of how the political pundits, analysts and media houses were far removed from reality. That Kamala Harris in the last days of campaigning spoke about how nobody wants Donald Trump. The othering of a candidate is something that might have not gone down well for her, because it does seem like, yes, the US does want Trump. The US is one of them. She said that he's not one of us. He's not like us. We are not him. Our country, America, is not him. It just is very clear that no, they are him. They want him. And America voted him in. That's a clear message that has come from the results that we saw on Super Tuesday. Having said that, what are the areas that really worked in favor of Donald Trump? The areas that might not have worked in favor of Donald Trump, but it did not dent his vote bank much. Economy, immigration, and abortion. If we just talk about these three important aspects, not many realized that economy was a very, very big thing amongst all voters. Across board, across states, across cities. Now, the all red states do not turn blue, and the all blue states did not turn red. They stayed in their traditional spaces. The swing states, where voters really look at performances, question the dispensation, are the ones who really were questioning Biden-Harris administration. Also, those states that had done well for Democrats this time clearly swayed the other way. Donald Trump won most of the swing states, including those that were cities that were in question as to whether, if because of certain reasons, they will not be looking at Donald Trump. Having said that, let's just talk about economy. Price rise and inflation are a major thing in the United States of America. They were a major issue amongst voters, whether if Kamala Harris and the Harris camp wanted to believe it or not. They tried to talk about how, yes, it is, and they are looking at how to manage it, and that there were comparisons that were made, numbers that were being thrown at how inflation was in a certain period as opposed to now, how they've managed to contain the problem of inflation. The other thing that they have connected to economy and a failing economy is the fact that America has gone to too many wars, is supporting too many wars, and in that a lot of money is going out of the country, which many feel could have really helped revive the American economy. Donald Trump's advantage over here was that he kept drilling the point home that he has never taken his country to any war, and should he come to power, he will ensure, not that he will try, he will ensure that there is peace in the parts of the world where America is involved and there are wars, such as the Russia-Ukraine war, or for that matter, the Israel-Hamas war. Ones who are absolutely democratic voters are also those who've been protesting Biden-Harris administration's stance on the Gaza war and the fact that they have not done much. So as a way of punishing the Biden-Harris administration, they wanted to vote otherwise, or vote her out, vote Biden out. So it is in a way a referendum not just against Harris but Biden-Harris administration. She did carry that baggage. Outside Mar-a-Lago, which is where Donald Trump is, in Florida, Geeta Mohan for India Today Global. So apart from the fact that abortion, immigration, economy were the key factors this election, there was one other factor that was quite connected to economy itself, and it was the wars. It does seem like all those Democrats who stood against the war, were protesting in various parts of the country, felt betrayed by the Democratic Party and then voted against the Democratic Party with a vengeance. That certainly could be one of the reasons why Donald Trump has won popular votes this time around. But he comes with the promise of peace. He says that he will bring about peace. In such a scenario, would countries like Ukraine and Israel fear Donald Trump's future policies when it comes to war? Let's take a look at this report.
Donald Trump's rewrite American history by returning to the White House for a second term as the 47th President of the United States. As liberal Americans are saddened by the shocking victory, the world is anxious about what happens to the Ukraine-Russia and the Middle East war. With Trump's return, a tectonic shift in the US's foreign policy is likely expected. Trump's repeated rhetoric of "Make America Great Again"
This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again.
and his claims that he could end wars in a day.
But we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
Is making Europe reiterate its stand on Ukraine-Russia war. French President Macron also expressed concerns about European future.
First, we have a clear position on the EU side. We want to strengthen Ukraine because we know that strengthening Ukraine is strengthening ourselves. This one first element. We also know that if we would be weak with authoritarian regimes like Russia, when they put at risk the international order, then we send a very dangerous signal of vulnerability to the rest of the world.
I think that we have to give a clear message here today to the United States and the new administration that we support Ukraine as long and as much as needed. The message has to be clear and strong. And the second one is that it's clear that Europe have to do more for its own defense, to strengthen it and own security. This is important message to Trump.
Trump's sure victory against President Biden in the US elections before Kamala Harris became his opponent had already prompted Kyiv to prepare a victory plan against Russia. President Volodymyr Zelensky had met Donald Trump in September this year and agreed to end the war and not let the Russian president win.
Взагалі для нас в Україні, в усій Європі надзвичайно важливо було увесь час чути слова.
For us in Ukraine and across Europe, it was extremely important to hear the words of the then 45th President of the United States about peace through strength. And when this becomes the principle of the policy of the 47th President of the United States, America and the whole world will certainly benefit from it. It is not for nothing that Ronald Reagan is mentioned so often now. People want confidence. They want freedom, a normal life. And for us, this is life without Russian aggression and with a strong America, with a strong Ukraine, with strong allies. We have already spoken with President Trump this year, both by phone in July and in person at a meeting in September. And these were good conversations.
І особисто на зустрічі у вересні це були хороші розмови.
Political opponents and pundits have always warned against Trump's cozy relation with Russia.
So we have a very good relationship, and I also have a very good relationship, as you know, with President Putin. And I think if we win, I think we're going to get it resolved very quickly. I really think we're going to get it resolved.
Also, Trump's skepticism of NATO is being questioned. He has been accusing Europe of leaning too much on American economy and power to maintain the alliance.
China, North Korea, Russia, and of course Iran. And this is more and more a threat not only to the European part of NATO, but also to the United States, because Russia is delivering the latest technology into North Korea in return for North Korean help with the war against Ukraine. And it is a threat not only to the European part of NATO, but also to the US mainland. And that means that the Indo-Pacific and the Euro-Atlantic, but particularly also within NATO, US, Canada and the European part of NATO, we have to work together. So I look forward to sit down with Donald Trump to discuss how we can face these threats collectively.
Regarding the Middle East war, Trump had claimed that it would not have started had he been in power. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was quick to congratulate the president-elect on X. Earlier, Trump had adopted a policy which saw the US pull out of the US-Iran nuclear deal, apply sanctions against Iran, and the killing of Iran's most powerful military leader, General Qasem Soleimani. But Iran says the return of Trump doesn't make much of a difference.
الان کشور خیلی نگران این که ترامپ رأی آورده نیست. خب چه فرقی میکنه به هر حال مگر که
Right now the country isn't overly concerned about Trump winning. What difference does it make? Was there really a big difference? For many of us, it does not matter much, and the necessary measures for the economic security of the country have already been prepared, so there is no need for worry.
نیست. عرض میکنم تحریم ها مقدار زیادی قوه داخلی ما رو تقویت کرده و اقتصاد امروز به اندازه کافی در این راستا توان برخورد رو داره.
One would have to wait and watch to see if Trump can detangle the complicated web of wars. With Mahashweta Lala, Bureau Report, India Today.
India Today Network was the only Indian channel to be there at the GOP watch party. It was a different experience altogether. How did I get in? What really happened? When I spoke to people, how overwhelmed were the Republicans attending that party? Take a look at the small report from Palm Beach County Convention Center in Florida. Today Network was the only channel present at the GOP watch party. We had our reporter Rohit Sharma in Washington DC covering the Democratic Watch Party, which is basically an official party, a gathering of people who come together to watch election results together. And when the leader or the party is winning or wins the 272 mark, then the leader comes out to address the people. Over here in Florida at West Palm Beach, I was there, and at the Palm Beach County Convention Center is where the GOP watch party was taking place. A very difficult one to get entry because it was last minute for us, but we finally managed it with members and friends in the Republican Hindu Coalition. And finally, after getting in, it was fantastic. You'd see only the likes of New Year's Eve in New York or Christmas parties in this part of the world where people come out so well dressed. Hotels around West Palm Beach were all booked. People had flown in, Republican Party members had flown in, Republicans had flown in from various parts of the country, and they were there ready to party. But then it did not begin like that. After long queues, security checks, because Secret Service is also factored in, all the clearances of names had to go through Secret Service. There was a VIP room, which is where most of the VIP Republican leaders and politicians were sitting. Not Donald Trump, because he was still in at his residence in Mar-a-Lago, and he was with his friends and companions, which included Elon Musk, his family members, of course, and the main campaign strategists. So we knew that we're getting into a space where there'd be people who are upbeat, enthusiastic, but also nervous. So when I went in, there was food, there were drinks, there was an entire cohort of our media personnel. There was an entire setup for media to cover the event, and then music, big screens covering the elections with 3 screens of in each big screen. There were 3 screens of CNN, Fox, MSNBC going live with the numbers that were trickling in. I started speaking to people over there, a lot of them very enthusiastic, some of them very confident that Donald Trump will indeed win, but then some a little fearful and concerned that, and they came from the baggage of the last election experience. So they said that if Donald Trump does not win this time also the election would be stolen, it would be fraud. And so they were fearful of the swing states, which way the swing states would go. Initially, Donald Trump was leading, and every time a state was called, there was massive celebration. But then there were those who monitor elections very closely. And Shalabh Kumar was with me, some others also. They said that, these are Republican states being called, so we shouldn't be that enthusiastic. They were anyway going to go to Donald Trump. And when California comes, 54 electoral votes would go to Kamala Harris. That will stack up her numbers too. So let's not look at the Republican red and the Democratic blue states. They for sure are going to go to the candidates, to the respective candidates. But it was the 7 swing states that they were carefully monitoring. And there was a moment when they thought that now they're confident, but that confidence turned into real jubilation when the Harris campaign co-founder or co-host came out, the manager, Richmond, and announced that Kamala Harris indeed was not going to address the supporters tonight. It'll be tomorrow, and that was said on Tuesday. And when that happened, everybody realized that Kamala Harris camp is nervous. The numbers have not been called, but they're not confident of a win, so they're calling it a night. There were sad scenes from the other side where the supporters of the Democratic Party were going home. Over here, meanwhile, what happened was Pennsylvania was called. And when Pennsylvania was called, you had dance, music, the works. And everybody was excited because there were just 3 more seats to go. And then Wisconsin was called, and Trump reached the 277 mark, after which most channels, these were projected wins, but most channels then started calling Trump's win. They all dared, they all were celebrating it, they danced, and the entire event ended for us at around 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. So that's how Super Tuesday went for me and for the India Today network.